Whoa, that was a big word. Scooter, that was a big word. Let me say it again. We're about the simulcast. And who do we have on the radio right now? We got to take a guess. Is it going to be Deb or Neal?
You have me.
I got Neal. Neal's online. Deb, can you hear us? Not yet. Not yet. Wait for it. Wait for it. Wait for it. Well, Neal, how is everything going? We're going to work with this till we can get Deb back online.
Oh, everything's terrific. I've had a great Christmas holiday. Good 2012. Starting 2013 on the right foot.
Oh my gosh, it's all breaking up again there at the end. You're sounding a little garbled on our end also, just a little bit. You were saying something about the 13th?
Oh, 2013 is starting off really well for me.
2013 is starting off well.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it is for our team also. We've got a lot in the works, a lot's going on. Working with some agents, agencies, and whatever. Everything's going good for us. Where are you calling from? Just let our listeners know.
Chillicothe, Ohio. Ohio's first capital. It was so nice. They made it the capital twice.
Chillicothe, well, you're only about, 100, 150 miles from us, I think.
Yeah, roughly.
Okay, like north Cincinnati.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, good. Oh, you're still trying to get them together. Well, Neal, what would you like to talk about? You know, we can talk about anything on here. You got anything coming up? Well, you got a book? Got a book that's coming out?
Mm-hmm. No,
Oh, wait a minute. Wait, are we holding? Okay, Neal, hold on 1 second.
Yeah, go ahead.
You lost Deb. And she's back. Oh, my God. All right, here we go. Hey, Deb. Oh, my gosh. I know. Lee dropped you.
That's
Neal?
all right. It happened.
Neal?
Neal, are you there?
I'm still here.
And Deb's here?
Yeah. The
Very
gang's
nice.
all here.
We're here.
Sounded like Deb was doing a little auto-tuning there. She went, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, she's probably doing it with her fingers.
Does she talk with her hands in her mouth?
Yeah, she's got all kinds of like little microphones in those fingers. Well, Neal, as you've heard, that Deb is now a co-host on Looking Into the Unknown, and we're very honored to have her.
That's awesome. She's a great lady. Fine-looking woman. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and we were just talking about an investigation that is family members of yours.
Yeah, my sister-in-law, Terry.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. We were just sharing a little bit about that, and some fun stuff that we did there, and serious stuff. So yeah, for everybody in the chat room, this is Neal Parks. Give it up for Neal. He is a great friend. Deb, when did we meet, Neal?
It was at Ohio Paracon in Dayton.
In Dayton, Ohio. And it's been years.
Yep.
August 2010.
2010.
Mm-hmm.
2013, and we're still here. Woo!
Yeah. And I was a young, vibrant 36-year-old at that time.
Hey, you're my age.
Yeah,
No,
yeah.
Don't, Jersey P, don't even. Here she goes. Don't.
Jersey P.
What I was going to point out was if Neal was 36 in 2010, that puts him roughly my age.
Yeah. Yeah.
Let's not talk about age. There's no need for that.
Yes, thank you, Deb. Let's not.
Let's don't hear the age thing. So, Neal,
Yeah.
what do you have going on for 2013? I know the books. I mean, you're well, you know, for us writing our first book, and Deb, did you ever mention about you writing the book?
I don't know if I ever mentioned to Neal, but yeah, I'm working on the last chapter. It is the most difficult chapter, but my book is getting published within 6 weeks, so
Oh, that's
looking
terrific.
forward to it.
So, Neal, I had a question. As we're writing a book and Deb's in her final phase,
Mm-hmm.
we wanted to write our second book, so we've already started talking about the second book. Now, is that how it goes for you? Like, when you're writing a book, you're like, oh, this will be great for my next book.
That's exactly what I do. Sometimes I'll wake up in the middle of the night, and I purposely sleep with either my iPhone next to me or just a regular pen and pad, and things will come to me, and I'll have to jot them down, because if I forget them, then I'm going to drive myself crazy trying to remember the storyline or the subplot.
That's my problem, Neal. I'll be driving. This is Scooter, by the way.
Hi, Scooter.
What? Hold on. Sorry. What's going on? What's going on?
I just want to be a part of this conversation, so I had to grab the other microphone.
Why do you want to be a part of this conversation?
Because I love to be with you, Scooter.
You always love to be with
The pictures we took last night are phenomenal. Priceless. Jim, you don't want me to bring you in this either.
Oh my God.
I feel like I'm intruding.
But go ahead. Okay, well, what I was going to tell you is my problem is like these ideas for the book for right now will come to me when I'm driving in my car, and therefore I don't have a pen and pad. My brain doesn't have a really good memory, and by the time I get to the destination I'm going to, like hop on my car, Gold Star Chili, all these great places that I eat at, my brain just goes haywire and I can't remember, and then, you know, later on I'm going, gosh, why can't that come up in my head? Why can't it pop up when I'm at home or someplace where I can run and grab a pen and paper?
You know, and I'm like Neal, you know, if I can write it down or put it in my notepad on my phone, because I always go back. When I used to write it on the paper, I used to, oh man, it was so bad you couldn't even read it. But, you know, I'm not a big reader, and Patty, she knows this, the team knows this, that if I'm going to write a book, I got to read books. So I am reading one now, Stan Romanek's, and
thanks to Scooter.
Yep. And I've got a lot of books that I want to read.
He's already read Neil Park's.
I have read Neil
Haunted
Park's.
Holidays.
Oh my God, really?
The one that he gave me back in Ohio Paracon.
Yeah.
Yeah,
very nice.
There's somewhere in my shelf. See, I just don't buy them to make me look very educated.
Yo, so do you suggest, back to what I was talking about earlier, do you suggest maybe when this happens to me when I'm driving my car, I should contact Jersey P on my cell and say, Jersey P, I need you to write this down for me. I'm driving right now, but I have a good idea, and I want to put it out there.
Hold up there, son. I am not your secretary.
Oh,
You do not contact Jersey P.
That's right,
No,
you're
no,
my
no, no,
agent.
no.
You could either do that, or
Without your voice recorder? So you bust that bad boy out and talk to it. Oh, wait. Is it full?
Oh. You see how they treat me on this show? God, I'm a nice guy.
You're our favorite toy. You're our favorite toy.
Deb, a toy. You're a plaything, okay? A plaything. Jim, come on, man. I need some backup in here. Hey, Colty.
Listen, you're eye candy. You're eye candy for Paravision. Take it as a compliment.
You know, it's a compliment, and you know what? I'm far from it.
And you know what? We have a car that parks out where I work. It's a red Corvette, and the license plate says eye candy. I will get a picture for you.
Neal, do you have that problem being called eye candy?
every day of my life.
Does it inspire you to write a book?
I think I'm actually working on one about being the Ryan Gosling of the paranormal field. I'm working on that right now.
Wow.
Yeah,
wow.
my wife, if you've ever seen her, ever watched the show Big Bang Theory?
The Big Bang Theory, yes.
Yeah.
Bazinga!
It's a lot like, I'm the kind of person who basically took Sheldon and Leonard and made them into one guy and gave them social skills like myself. And my wife is like hotter than the girl who plays Penny. So when people see us together, they're like, there's no way they're together. It has to be her stupid retarded brother or something. But then they see that we have offspring. I have a son and a daughter, and they're like, how did you con her into producing with you? And I'm like, well, at least we've obviously been together twice, you can see. So that's saying something.
Well, yeah. Neal, this is Lee. I was thinking the same thing. I was like, he looks like Leonard, and that looks like Penny, and I wonder what he did to get her in the band. And I'm thinking it was probably candy and money.
There's some of those chocolate coins, so it was candy money.
Chocolate coins. She was picking them up and saying, God, some idiot. And here's Neal walking down the street. Drop. She's still coming. Giggity, giggity.
Yeah, the way I met
Logical, Captain.
the way I met Kristen, I used to babysit her. That's how I know her. I'm joking. No, we met in college in theater class. Now, the unfortunate thing was she thought I was gay, so that didn't work into my favor at first. But ironically enough, the guy she was dating that I broke the two of them up, he ended up turning gay many years down the road. So it's like, well, I guess that worked out for both of us.
Hey, Neal,
Yes.
of course. Are you a big Star Trek fan?
Completely, yes. And I love Star Wars. Actually love Star Wars more than Star Trek, but Star Trek's always been that and Doctor Who have always been a major part of my vision, I guess. I tie a lot of... I'm sorry?
You and Jersey P can how am I going to put this? Hold on. You two have something in common here, and I'm not trying to hook you up. You're both married. What I'm trying to say is, she's a big Doctor Who fan.
Oh.
Are you? Is it old Doctor Who or is it the new Doctor Who?
It's the past 50 years of Doctor Who. I followed it all my entire life.
I wouldn't say I'm a big Doctor Who fan, but I like it. I haven't seen much, but I only started watching when it was the guy before David Tennant.
Oh, the guy with
Tennant
the
was
crew
my
cut.
favorite. What?
The guy with the really short hair.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. Deb, how about you? You Doctor Who fan? Deb?
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't hear what you said.
She's sleeping on us over here. What kind of...
It's
This is our new...
it's hard to hear. I can't hear Neal very well, so I missed that.
Yeah, it's breaking up for us, too.
We may have to do some auto-tuning for Deb.
If Neal sings us a tune, maybe we can get the show going here. The frequency
All right, let's hear it.
You want me to sing What's the Frequency, Kenneth, from REM's album Monster,
Yes.
circa 1995?
What a great song, Neal.
No, it was, yes. You know that song was about Dan Rather, right?
Yeah, what? Say that again?
That song was about Dan Rather.
What?
Yeah, apparently there was some sort of something going on in the community during the LA riots, and Dan Rather just happened to be in the area near a mental institution, like a mental home, and all these crazies were out with the gangs and the locals in LA just trashing everything, and Dan Rather is just talking to people on the street that were looting, and this one kept smacking him in the head and saying, "What's the frequency, Kenneth?" over and over again. The dude's name isn't Kenneth, of course, it's Dan Rather, but he kept hitting him and saying, "What's the frequency, Kenneth?" And for some reason that stuck with Michael Stipe from REM, so he decided to write a song called What's the Frequency, Kenneth? Which really has nothing to do with the incident, because it doesn't even mention Dan Rather in the song.
Wow, this guy is just full of knowledge. The last time we had him on the show, he was like this.
Neal, are you a Jeopardy fan?
Absolutely.
We have more in common. So, I know.
Oh, this is getting sick.
Only a Jeopardy fan would know these inane facts. I'm sorry.
I was just gonna say, like, you have to watch one of those weird game shows to have these random facts in your head.
Now, Deb, I'm
I'm just saying.
Oh, way to go, Deb.
Now, when my wife and I were on our honeymoon, and we went on a cruise to Jamaica and the Cayman Islands 2 years ago, each time we went to these things, we always went to those little game shows where they invited the couples in to play, and it was like a show tune show where you had to name the show tune in X amount of seconds. And within, like, TV shows, old, new, and really old shows. And if they play, like, the first note or the first two notes of a song, I know it immediately. I'm kind of like Rain Man, but I'm not autistic, I guess.
That's awesome.
Name that tune. Name that tune. Jim's right. That was...
And it's not dorky that you guys know that, but it's dorky that I like Jeopardy. That's for smart people.
It's not just
Jeopardy's a cool show. Jeopardy's a really cool show.
Wait a minute. My sister's cat likes Jeopardy. It's the only time it watches TV is when Jeopardy comes on. So you got something in common with the cats. Yeah. I'm sorry. I didn't mean that. No offense.
Maybe it thinks that Alex Trebek's mustache is a mouse.
She is writing something down that cannot be
Oh
taken
no.
away.
Oh no, I'm in trouble. I'm about to get kicked out of the studio.
And I
Hey, Peter, look around where you are right now. Whose home are you in?
Well, I'm the guy on the couch. I'm usually here at least 3 or 5 days a week.
not where? If not inside the house, then where?
Outside the house stealing internet.
Scooter, you remember what you just said, that she's got something in common with cats? Just to you, buddy. This isn't for the air. But I'll pass it to the microphone to Scooter, and he'll share.
Oh my God. This sounds like it's going to a dirty place.
Neal, let's just break the ice here, buddy.
Hey, how you doing again?
Let's get straight to it. I want to talk about your new book. It just came out a couple months ago, if I'm correct.
September.
Holidays.
Yes.
Can you tell our viewers a little bit about that? What was that?
What was? Hello?
Did you hear that? Did anybody hear that?
I heard something.
Whose house was that at?
I
It
didn't.
sounded like a pop.
To us, it sounded like something screeching, like, ah! Yeah, anyways, that's nothing new around this place.
Nothing beats haunted airwaves. But my book is about events, miracles, abnormal phenomenon, and paranormal abnormalities that take place between Halloween to New Year's Eve. So it's 3 stories revolving around each holiday. So I've got 3 stories for Halloween, 3 stories for Thanksgiving, 3 stories for Christmas, and 3 for New Year's Eve. And it revolves around astral projection. There's 1 story pertaining to that. There's 1 story pertaining to an angelic encounter that alters the space and time continuum. There's an encounter, of course, involving ghosts, alien visitations, things of that sort. I have managed to tie it all in, because those are the things I investigate. Not just ghosts, of course. I investigate UFO phenomenon, alien visitations, abductions, crop formations, Bigfoot, cryptozoology.
Now, speaking of crypto, you live over in Chillicothe, and that is one of the biggest known areas for, Sasquatch.
Mm-hmm.
What's your intake on that?
I don't really think he's hanging around here much anymore. If he's coming through the area, it's just for purposes of migration alone, not to set up camp. And more in the Ohio Valley, especially out east in Ohio, you're getting more Grassman sightings than you are Sasquatch. Where Sasquatch seems to be the Lone Ranger, the Grassman travels in packs of 3 or more. They travel as a family.
Yeah, there seems to be a lot more of the spottings of Sasquatch in the Adams County Shawnee Forest area.
Yes.
In the past few years. Actually, before we started the show tonight, I was watching a little series on the History Channel about Sasquatch, and it's pretty interesting that, hearing some of the stories from Americans that when they go to these countries that the tribes will, escort the ladies out of the reservation until they get into their vehicles, because females, human beings, they love them. And they say that they actually have had intercourse with a human being, female, but the actual baby does not live longer than 3 months because it cannot adapt.
Yeah. I've heard cases of that. One, in fact, was a story similar to that relayed to me from a missionary with the Catholic Church. They were saying they had a situation near the Congo of what's referred to, even China has this, they call it the skunk ape. And it's...
Now that reservation, that, I can't remember the name of the reservation, but they are saying that the Sasquatch is nothing other than some of the guys that's in the tribe that gets kicked out, and they, within 2 or 3 years after, they change. They'll put tree moss on them to keep them warm. They'll grow their hair grows down.
Mm-hmm.
They become physical fit. They scare away males, human beings. But if there's a female, they want to take her and make her the missus.
Yeah.
Because
that's exactly how I met Kristen.
There was a lady actually doing some photography in Virginia, and she was out there by herself snapping some shots in this forest. And she said that she was behind a tree and she could hear it coming closer to her. And she actually, on this show, they actually had the clippings from her camera. She had a video camera set up as well, and you can hear it. They replayed it, and it got closer and closer. Like she said, it felt like it was pushing her out of the woods to her car.
Oh.
But what it was doing, it was just getting closer. Now, if it really wanted her, I'm sure it would have grabbed her. But yeah, I wished I would have remembered the name of the show. It was on the History Channel today.
Okay, so you're telling me that the Bigfoots, actually there is a case where a Bigfoot has had intercourse with a human being. Now, was that rape or was that willingly?
I would hope that it wouldn't be consensual.
This isn't the Jerry Springer show.
No, I'm being serious.
Oh, okay. I'm not really sure. You know,
and according to the current political play in our country, how do you truly define rape anymore?
True. That is true, Neal. How do you define that?
Yeah. Jersey P, what do you think?
Jersey P, what do you think?
Say that again, please. I was trying to find your book.
I said,
Hey, what do you think about what Scooter was just saying? Is it rape or is it willing? Because Neal said, these days, how do you define rape?
I think that's a touchy subject, and I'd rather not discuss it myself. You guys go right ahead.
Yeah, that's an area I'm not going to go in either.
Well, yeah, I mean, it is true because
You are very smart ladies.
very smart ladies. Right on.
Mm-hmm.
Right on. But, you know, what's the main guy that is in the crypto professor? He was on this show today. And just amazing because, you know, I don't know when it was, how many years ago, because I didn't really get that, but I was looking at the photos that they had of the Sasquatch female.
Mm-hmm.
Did you see that?
I have seen those photos.
Yeah, that is amazing. And they're trying to do tests on whether or not that is actually full Sasquatch or if that is part human being and Sasquatch, which would be crazy. Well, I don't know. I mean, that's just there's so many people out there that, you know, study the crypto that I just learn as we go. You know, I'd really like to experience something like that.
I have dozens of theories pertaining to what on earth they could be, or if they're connected to us genetically at all. I could literally write volumes on it.
They say that they're, some of the opinions said today that they are one of our old relatives, you know, of human being. But then they say that, no, they're modern, which puts perspective of the tribe, kicking the guys out of the tribe and living like, you know, a crazy man. So, who knows? But they say that, you know, they go into places in the dark corners that we never go. Really?
Like Walmart?
In our backyards. I mean, because there's sightings everywhere anymore of those. Backyards, parks. Jim's friend told us one about Wilmington, Ohio, where, you know, him and his dad, they said that they were down there fishing, and it didn't sound like the trees were breaking around them, around the water. Looked up, and they were in the trees. And they say, you know, his opinion is you should look up in trees because he has actually seen 2 sightings of them in the trees.
Ugh.
Huh.
I would be afraid to make eye contact with one of them in the tree if I were close enough for them to jump on me.
Yeah, I wouldn't know what to do. I mean, like, what would you do? I mean, because that's the thing. Everybody wants to video document Sasquatch or Bigfoot, whatever you want to call it. But what would you do if you got close to it?
Well, I have heard instances of if you should get close, number one, you don't smile. You don't show your teeth because supposedly this shows aggression. So simply like looking down, look away, walk away is probably the best instance. You know, they're beating or they're hitting the trees or they're throwing the rocks at you to let you know you're getting too close is how I feel.
Yeah.
So, you know, our own little instance that we had a while ago with rocks being thrown at us. We turned around and walked the other way. We don't need to. We don't need to get engaged. We're here for something else. That just turned out being something else that we could have investigated.
Now, Neal, you live close to another crypto creature, which is really well known anymore, and that's the Mothman.
That is right. I'm considered by many to be the expert on all things Mothman, but I give credit of that title to none other than Jeff Walmsley, but even he would say that I hold my own weight in that category, so yes, I'm very well aware of Mothman and could spend a week or two telling you everything about it.
Wow. I mean, have you gone, so I take it you've probably been to the Mothman Festival every year then?
I've been a guest speaker several times there, yes.
So we had the honor of going down there with one of our friends. We went down there and we got to go to the TNT bunkers and investigate around that area, look around, and then, you know, me speaking for the whole group, I know, you know, we all had a great time. Of course, we didn't capture anything at all, but I mean, we had a great time when we were there. And I hear about reports to this day still going on about the Mothman, about sightings in other states, and over by that TNT area where we were at. I've heard about screams, these weird hawk-like screams being heard in that area.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Among other bizarre sightings to this day that truckers or state highway patrolmen or sheriff's deputies or hunters have encountered, one of which there was a truck driver who swore that he almost hit a centaur that was crossing the road.
Oh, wow. Could you say that one more time? You're breaking up a little bit. I heard something about a trucker.
There was a truck driver who claimed that he almost hit a centaur that was out in the middle of the road late at night. A mythological creature, the centaur, half man, half horse.
What is the centaur? Is it half man, human being, and what else?
Horse. It has a horse's...
Horse? Oh, it's got the horse body and the man chest up.
Yeah, he said that he was driving down the road, he was lost, and it crossed right out in front of him, and he stopped in time before actually hitting it, and it stared straight up at him through his window and continued crossing on the other side of the road and had a long sword in its hand. So I'm wondering if maybe there's some sort of a parallel dimension wormhole there in that vicinity that is allowing these strange things to occur and to move in and out of our reality.
Wow.
That's not too far off. Has that area been identified? Has he come out with it? Has it been investigated? Books on it? Anything to that nature, Neal?
I'm one of the only people who knows about that, other than Jeff Walmsley and now you and your listeners. I've written about it, and it's yet to be released. It's like a chronological, or a chronicle, basically, of events that have been going on post-Mothman. People seeing lights in the sky, UFOs being sighted near the nuclear facility that's in Gallipolis across the river from Point Pleasant. Gallipolis, Ohio.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a, you know what?
About UFOs down there, too.
UFOs down there, yeah.
We were at the museum, but of course, you know, the Men in Black were there, you would put one without the other, so that's pretty interesting.
Yeah, the Men in Black, they don't wear fedoras, and they don't carry the memory eraser sticks either. And they don't normally wear black.
You said they normally wear black, or they normally don't?
They normally don't dress in suits like that, no.
Okay. That was our dictation of it.
Yeah, they normally pick at the skies to try to blend in.
Yeah, I understand that there was a lot of reports coming in during that time where people were hearing actual, what sounded like a radio playing or like some kind of frequency that they could not explain, and it was wherever they went to for a while, they thought they were losing their minds. And it was all around the same time, the Mothman, the UFO sightings, all this was going on, these reports were coming in.
I think we were, at that point, being watched by someone or something at that point in time, much like Star Trek Insurrection, if you've ever seen that movie.
Okay. Okay, he was talking about being. You just said something about being watched. We were being watched at that time.
And observed, and people were, it's not everyone, but certain people were able to hone in on that pitch, that tone that was being omitted by whatever device was cloaked, enabling the others, whoever they may be, to watch and observe, because they knew of a cataclysmic event that was about to occur, and they were basically studying the human condition.
Okay. We as a group, we did have, I'm sorry, I lied to you. I said we did not have an experience at the TNT bunker. We did have one thing that was kind of strange that did happen to us, and Jim can tell you this. Go ahead and tell him, Jim.
Oh, well, with us, for the bunkers, when we were going back, taking the walk, Neal, have you taken a walk back towards the bunkers?
Many times, yes.
Okay, we were walking back there, the four of us, along with Jody Cook, and when we would stop, we would hear rustling or something around the back area behind the bunker, which was heavily covered in foliage, along with the tree line and whatever. But we also thought that we could hear radio traffic, or like the squelching of a radio. So we would walk to the next bunker, and it sounded like this radio, whatever, was also still going off behind these bunkers. Literally, we felt like we were being followed parallel. We were in front, they would be behind. No idea for what, for why, or what reason that this occurred, but it seemed to take place all three bunkers we went. I think because at that time we were told not to go to the fourth one. Yes. We turned around and came back. But we did do a little test factor. We all shuffled our feet like we were walking, and we stopped immediately. And we could hear radio traffic, and I think they knew that we caught them. But we never did see them.
Yeah, because they did go away. They did go away. Mm-hmm. And it's like, that's basically what you do, in when you're hunting. In the military is when you move, is when walnuts and all that, the wind blows. And we decided to do that back there. And sure enough, you could hear the radios, like Jim said, you could hear their feet moving. And it quit. It's like, okay, they picked on us, so now what are we going to do? So it was an interesting trip. But I want to share something with you guys that I've been thinking about all day, because it happened to me last night. Jersey P was actually like, wow, you asked me was I okay this morning, or middle of the night you asked me if I was okay, because I was hot. I couldn't, it was getting hot, I was getting cold.
You were hot.
I remember asking you what time it was.
Yeah, and it was like 4 something in the morning.
I think you said 4:30, and I said, oh good, I have another hour.
Yeah. Well, here's what happened. I had this dream that I woke up, and I was getting woke up by, like, if somebody was taking the brightest flashlight and putting it in your eyes when you're asleep, and you could see it, and it's bringing you to that light. And I woke up, and we have 2 windows. We're up in we got a 2-story home, and in our bedroom we got 2 windows. And that window that was closest to my side of the bed was open, and I walked through the window like I was on a sidewalk. Okay? Now here's the crazy part. The thing, and I'm going to call it a creature, that was holding my hand, I was holding my hand up, and they were holding their hand like a palm, and I could feel the texture of the skin. It felt like 80 grit sandpaper. Ugh. And I remember a real glittery, like, long, because all I could see is the arm, and I could see like a robe, like a glittery, it's glittery, just black and glitter. And I woke up in a sweat, and that's all I remember. And I do not know what that is. I don't know if Stan Romanek is responsible for this.
That's good.
I hope we see him at Phenomenology, because I'm going to give him a piece of my mind. But it was the weirdest dream. It felt like it was real, like reality. It was like, wow. Not, just it blew me away.
And it is crazy when you get those dreams and how real they are. So like I told you, the dream that I had, I could not wait to wake myself up from it. And I think that's when it becomes scary.
You know what? In this dream, I didn't want to wake up, because I guess just being an investigator,
yeah,
I wanted to know more.
Well, dude, when you go back to bed tonight, continue that dream.
I may not be here.
That's a true investigator right there. That is a true investigator.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, but I mean, actually, it's freaky. But I don't know. Too, I didn't read it last night. It was the night before. But I'm reading Stan Romanek's first book, and I just got into The Beautiful Lady. And if you guys have read his book about being abducted when he was younger, I recommend to read that. And that's as far as I got in it, so I really didn't go in detail. And it wasn't on my mind last night because we were just having photo shoot down here, and I was laying there just cracking up to myself about some of the pictures we took, so none of that was on my mind. So I got to keep a tab because if it happens again, it goes back to Neal saying, hey, I wake up, I write this stuff down because it's going to be in my book. So...
Well, we said 10,000 times, we just need to put a good camera in your room.
Yeah.
Catching one of you walking or something.
Yeah.
You need a good dream interpreter, too.
Oh, yeah, that too.
Keep it PG.
Neal.
Oh, yeah.
So tell us a little more about Haunted Holidays. Where can we get this at?
Well, at first it was available only in digital download. Now it's made available in paperback. My publisher is synergybooks.com. That's SYNERGE books.com. And just go to authors or newest releases, and you can find Haunted Holidays right there. I designed the cover myself, which, having artistic freedom that I do, and being a graphics artist and a professional artist for many years, I had the opportunity and luxury of doing that. Didn't have to pay an artist to do mealy mouse work for me. So that's available for direct order, or you can go to as easily as Amazon. You can go to Barnes & Noble. It's available through them. And Barnes & Noble actually carries my paperbacks in their store now, which is awesome, to go through during Christmas time when you're shopping and you go to Barnes & Noble, just looking through, oh, look, here's the paranormal aisle. Here's the area where they have all of the books on spirituality, and boom, there's my book. And then, of course, I Twitter a picture of myself holding it. So.
That's awesome. Now, tell us a little bit. You told us a story the last time you were on the show, and I think this is the coolest story in the world. If I was an author, I'd love to have this happen to me. Well, I will be an author. I'm not yet, buddy.
Was it the one where I was
about?
Where I
the
was
story you told us?
Standing in line at Barnes & Noble, and a customer of theirs who purchased one of their e-readers. What are those things called? Not the Kindle Fire, but the other one is the Nook. They purchased a Nook, and they were having difficulty downloading a copy of Paranormal Chronicles, which was my first book. And they were walking through the steps with the person that was on the other side of the counter, and I was just standing there because I'm 3 people back, and I hear the whole conversation. And I'm kind of chuckling to myself. And the woman behind the counter is looking at me and making eye contact and smiling because she thought that, I found humor in the whole thing. But the reality was I found humor in the fact that they were discussing my book and that they were having difficulty getting it to open up other than just a PDF file. So she's explaining to her how to do it, and she's going through sample readings saying, here's the front cover, here's the back cover, this is how... And she looks at the back cover again and sees my face and looks up and sees me standing there. She's like, oh my God, there's the author right there. So she kind of outed me in front of everyone, and I felt like Nicholas Sparks for about 5 minutes.
That is so awesome, man. I wish that would have happened to me. Oh, hey. Yeah, I can tell you a lot about this book right here.
I wrote it.
Now, Patrick, you were recognized when we were at an event. Don't you remember? Sitting around the fire at End of Illusion, and we kept hearing, Scooter, Scooter.
Oh, yeah.
It's a little frightening.
Yeah, that was scary because, I didn't think there was anybody out there to listen to us, and we actually had somebody who recognized my face and said Scooter, and it was just out of the blue, and I was just freaked out about it. It really touched me.
You know what they said? Where's your hat, purple boy?
Oh, listen to our new co-host laughing right away.
Well, seeing Scooter in the durable hat. I love giving that to you, Scooter. That made me so joy.
He should.
It made me laugh watching you put that little durable hat on your head. I feel like I could squeeze your cheeks and say, "You're so adorable."
Hey, Deb, do you have anything you would like to ask Neal? Because I know we've been taking up a lot of his time.
I would, but I don't think I'm going to hear him because he's really cutting out so bad. I mean, I have no idea what you guys just laughed at whatever Neal said.
Oh, I don't know.
So,
I just use the psychic capabilities and feed in there.
Just go ahead.
I just want to wish that you had on your head with the book. It's phenomenal writing.
Listen, he has several books. Deb, do you have anything you would like to ask? Well, I was going to ask Neal since he has so many of these books out, did this book, do you notice after you put out so many, like, everything starts going faster for you, as in the writing process?
Absolutely. Once you release your first book, then you go into ease at the possibility of a second book, and you become filled with ideas, and everything around you becomes inspiration. By the second book, everything goes downhill, and you just can't stop writing. You can't stop coming up with ideas. And the more people talk to you, and the more people see you at, like, I'm always at book signings. I do lectures at schools, churches, and libraries regularly, and maybe once a month, more so during the Halloween season, of course. And because of that, so many people come up and say, I lived with my grandma for a while, and this happened in her house, or I was with my uncle, and we were out hunting, and we saw such and such. And then you can take something as simple as a 30-second retelling and turn it into a short story.
True. Because you just add to it. I mean, yeah, I totally agree that, I've figured out that if I get on the computer and use WordPad or Microsoft Word, that my fingers are typing better than I am writing.
Yeah.
And, Patty's like, wow. And I just go more detailed when I'm writing on the computer than I do writing it on a piece of paper. So, yeah, I mean, we love asking questions to people that's writing books because, we're right in that stage of getting this first one out there, and we're excited. And, it's an honor to have you because Neal's been in the paranormal, guys, since, now I'm going to remember this, 1986.
That's right.
He was 11 years old when he got in the field. See, Neal? I know my true friends, buddy.
Thanks, man. It's just, something as simple as starting out with reading early works and listening to those records that used to play the boom, and then you turn the page, or those bigger records that would just do retellings and reenactments of old Edgar Allan Poe stories, H.P. Lovecraft, anything that's the old movie genre, like the old Dracula, Frankenstein, Werewolf, Mummy. That stuff sucked me in primarily and really got me into the whole genre of horror, thriller, and paranormal.
Wow. Ladies out there who are listening to our show right now, of course, y'all know we were talking with the fabulous, wonderful Neal Parks, a married man, but Neal did say, for right now, if you do buy his book, Haunted Holidays, he will take a picture of himself naked holding the book and promoting it. Just wanted to put that in there.
Wait. Will the book be covering anything?
Yes. Private parts. So you always gotta keep that mystery.
What do we do if it's a digital download? How do I do that?
How do I do that? That's true. No, I can't see Neal doing that. Neal, the picture we used for the banner, what were you doing? I want to ask. I want to know. What were you doing in that picture?
What's with those glasses? Those were actually magnifying glasses that belonged to my wife's dead grandmother, and she used to wear those so she could see the television better. So I put those on just as a joke and ended up getting my picture taken, and I thought it looked like a pretty cool picture, so I kept it and I use it as a profile sometimes.
It is an awesome picture.
You know what? I was just going to ask you. I helped put those banners together. I did go to your website to see if there was any other picture I could use, and I said, you know what? Jersey P sent me this picture. There must be a reason. I saw Mothman below. I added it to the banner.
You have to, you just got to, that's Neal.
That's, I know. I almost started throwing some of the Star Wars material up there.
We should have put it like in space.
Well, now that
Holding a lightsaber.
I'll do that again.
Yeah, we should have him like floating out there in space, and a Mothman flying by.
Wait a minute. I wouldn't doubt that that's one of his cover photos already. Okay.
Well, if it isn't, he's doing it right now.
So you just gave me an idea for the new back cover showing my picture on the next book.
All right. As long as Paravisions can help out, we were there.
Giggity, giggity. Hey, Neal, to ask you of the cryptid and the haunted and the UFOs, what is one of the favorites? What is one of your favorites you either like to investigate and or like to write about?
One of the most memorable encounters I've had that I actually wrote about in my first book was dealing with the crop formation that showed up in Peebles, Ohio in 2003.
Oh, yeah, I remember him talking about that.
That's the one where my vehicle decided not to start up for me again when I was so paralyzed with fear based on what I had just encountered. There were no cars, no trucks, no people walking around, and I parked in the parking lot of the Mound City, Serpent Mound area, which this farm with the field is directly across the road from the Serpent Mounds. And that seems to be a parallel with every crop formation that pops up in Ohio. They pop up directly beside a Serpent Mounds or a mound city or some sort of earthwork pertaining to ancient structures. So I parked my car there, I get out and I start taking some video footage, and my video camera just decides to die. And then I take out my camera phone and start taking a few snapshots there, and I can't get it to focus in on anything. It's all blurry, it starts breaking up, and then before you know it, I go from a full charge on my cell phone to half a battery life. And as I'm walking into the field to get a closer look at the crop formation and study the soil and look at the crop, I hear this voice pop up from behind me saying, "Sir, you're going to need to come out of that field and get back in your vehicle now." And I turn and look, and it's this gentleman dressed in a state highway patrolman or a sheriff's deputy uniform. He has the badge. He does not have a name tag. He does not have a gun, and he doesn't seem to be in official uniform, and there's no cop car anywhere. Dude's just standing there with dark glasses, black gloves, and his arms folded over almost like he's Arnold Schwarzenegger from Terminator. So I turn and look at him, and I said, "Sir, I have permission from the farmer to be in this field. There's really no issue here." He said, "I'm going to repeat myself only once. You need to shut your camera off, you need to get back in your vehicle, and you need to leave." And I said, "Okay, no problem." So I start walking out of the field, heading back up the bank, and walking on the same road this gentleman is still standing on. I walk past him, he doesn't even look at me, doesn't move, doesn't change his facial expression, get in my vehicle, and it won't turn over. And I'm like, oh, this is great. Dude wants me to leave, my car won't turn on. So after a few cranks, it finally comes on, and this is the first time it had ever done that. So I'm backing up, and as I'm starting to drive away, I'm watching his movement in my rearview mirror. And as I'm driving away further as slowly as possible so I can get a better look at what he's doing, he walks down that bank directly into the crops where I was standing, which were, by the way, only about waist high, and just completely vanishes. So I slam on my brake, put the car in park, and slowly step out and get a better look to see if he did vanish, or maybe if he ducked down and was hiding in the crop, or he tripped and fell. Dude was nowhere. There was no helicopter, there were no airplanes, no UFO above to beam him up, no cars anywhere. He just completely vanished. As quickly as he appeared, he disappeared.
Hey, Neal, now, didn't you want to stop and just try to do it again and see if he would come back out?
No.
You weren't going to take it because he said he was only going to tell you one more time.
That's what went through my mind. I took it as a friendly warning from whomever it may be.
You never know.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's almost enough to change a person's life.
True.
I mean, that's a life experience, a life-changing experience.
Mine would be It would be teaching me not to be a farmer because I'm not going in the field anymore.
Well, Neal, then let me ask you this. Since your camera died, your phone died, all devices used to record, how did you feel? How did your body
how did
feel?
the body feel?
I felt completely exhausted. The fillings in my teeth were causing my jawbone to ache because I have a lot of fillings in my teeth from when I was a kid. I drank so much soda and ate a lot of candy, so I kind of rotted my mouth. Yeah, it's not that bad, but anyway, I do have some fillings on my teeth, and they generated almost like an electric pulse or some sort of magnetic energy field around me that actually caused my jawline and my forehead to ache like a dull ache, almost like I had an ice cream headache that was continuous. And as
Now, do you feel that you were too close to maybe something going on, maybe alien related over on the other side of the tree line? They didn't want you, there's so much there that's wow, because you're picking up that strong magnetic charge. It was draining your body. It filled all of your, everything that you had. You wouldn't even be able to start your car. What part of Ohio was that again?
That was in Peebles.
Okay.
Yeah, make sure we stay far away from old people.
Well, if you remember, or if you know, the GE facility is in Peebles, the General Electric facility, where they work on reverse magnetic polarity jet propulsion, and they create these gyrospheres that they put the engines in to test them, and they're super loud, but you put them in these gyrospheres that spin and rotate, and they keep it quieter. It makes it more of a muffled roar. And that's on the other side of the hill of the crop formation. So I may have encountered something there where they were running a test.
If they were, if it was somebody from that plant, don't you think that they would put signs up stating, the magnetic charge in the air, do not go down that way, or something?
Well, my father works for a local gas company, which will remain nameless, because I'm not sure who listens to this show. That may or may not know him or work with him, but he delivers to that facility, delivers propane, and he's told me about these gyrospheres. He's told me about signs that are up around the facility that talk about having to wear lead jackets that they provide you with. You have to wear these lead-based jackets and lead jumpsuit pants that you put on over your pants when you're pumping into these tanks. And you're not allowed within X amount of feet of some of these generators and some of these pieces of equipment that they're testing with.
Wow. But that's probably the reason why they have it so far out there.
Yeah.
But you would think that, safety, all your government would come in and put signs, fences.
Well, even for that being remote, I got the luck of when I go to school at associate's degree for Cincinnati State. We got to go tour GE up here in the Cincinnati area, and they took us to the facility where they test the jet engine before it goes out the door. And it is a giant room. It's on a free floating hold, whatever you want to call it. And when they run that bad boy up, as you pass by GE, you can see the smoke, but I really don't think you hear the engine per se. So, that room's it's got to be pretty durable. Obviously free flowing, but what it can do, that's incredible.
Especially what?
Exactly.
Wow.
And just for that being in that location out in Peebles.
So, Deb, you stay away from there.
Oh, yeah. No, thank you.
Talking about knocking you down. Wow.
Well, that's just the magnetic aspect of it.
Well, and Neal, thank God you don't have a metal plate in your head or, ventilator. That would not have been good.
It seems like anytime I encounter high levels of magnetic propulsion or magnetic frequency, it affects me that way, almost like I'm chewing on a piece of tin foil. Do any of you have any of those lead fillings in your teeth like I do?
Yeah, I do.
Now, have you ever accidentally bitten into a gum wrapper or something like that, and you're like, oh my God, it creates an electric
absolutely.
Shock. That's what I'm talking about.
It sends like that shock all the way through, man.
A lot of abductees, a lot of them have fillings in their teeth, and allegedly they've been extracted and they put in trackers and new fillings because they don't match the original, and a dentist may notice this and ask if they got a new filling, and the abductee is like, well, no, I've not had a new filling in the last, 25 years. And they're like, well, that's funny because this one's gold or something like that.
Wow. I can only imagine that, what you went through just standing there and you were just taking pictures.
Mm-hmm.
That's really disturbing. I mean...
Well, I immediately checked for missing time. I checked all appendages for any kind of implants.
Now, do you ever feel, Neal, like...
Wait, just to jump back. So, did you say that you had no loss of time? I think that's what you were saying. You felt like if you got there at 1 o'clock, he was told you to leave, it was quarter after. Did you feel like you had any loss of time there?
None whatsoever.
Okay, all right. Okay, go ahead there, Leah.
No, I was just going to ask, having that done and some of the experiences that you've been through, do you ever feel like, like Stan Romanek does? Do you ever feel like you're being watched? Like crazy things, happen to you?
Well, years ago, I used to run my own conspiracy-based website called The Realm of Conspiracy. Since then, I've taken it down because I had received many death threats. I had received very strange and encrypted emails from people claiming to be from the future, trying to contact me. I think that may have been the Heaven's Gate cult that killed themselves during the Hale-Bopp comet, but I would receive really weird emails and phone calls, and anytime I would get a call from anyone, I would answer or I would call out, and there would be a strange tapping on the phone, evidently someone wiretapping my phones. And after a while, I stopped doing the conspiracy gambit, and I focused more on just researching the paranormal alone, and stopped with the conspiracy-based website. So after I took that down, that stuff slowly trickled down and stopped for me, thankfully.
Yeah, because I always feel like, people that follow MUFON, UFO, alien, my opinion is, wow, Death Wish, close,
Mm-hmm.
like you're digging into the government that you shouldn't be digging into, because the government wants us to know only what they want us to know. Because I feel like, sometime we were supposed to know about the aliens, but at the time they wanted to tell us, I think we were too smart for them because we're so educated. We know more than what they know. And I think it's hard for them to explain to the population that, yes, there is aliens. They do exist in everyday communication with human beings.
It would throw everything that we know to be true and sound in a complete upheaval.
It would be a total disaster.
It would destroy the education system. It would compromise the churches, because why didn't God bother to elaborate a little bit more on what else he created and kind of leave it out of the word? And then it would cause so many people to no longer trust the clergy, no longer trust the church. And then, of course, what would be left to not trust at all? Our government. And they realized that it would create a complete collapse and possibly a whole new level of civil war.
Now, do you think it would cause mass panic back like it did when, who was that, H.G. Wells?
Yeah, War of the Worlds.
War of the Worlds. When he did that, do you think it would cause mass panic?
I guarantee that.
Still, to this day?
Yeah. I mean, look at all the conspiracy buffs coming out about the Sandy Hook shooting. They're creating all these crazy scenarios and trying to fill the gaps with where the media screwed up and released the wrong information, or they didn't elaborate enough on this shooter or who the shooter was, or whether or not there were more than one shooters, or whether or not the shooter's mother worked for the school. In fact, she didn't work for the school. So now you've got all these, as I call, truth sayers that are out there creating these crazy scenario schemes, and these poor people who lost their children, who lost their loved ones, are constantly plagued and harassed by these nut jobs, and that's just the icing on the cake. That's just the tip of the iceberg. If something more severe than the Sandy Hook shooting were to come out as absolute fact, and everything we were told was an absolute lie, it would be pandemonium.
Yeah. I know I'm a big fan of it, and you might be too, the show V.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Awesome show. I grew up on that show. Um, and I really think it no, it doesn't show everybody freaking out and run around, but it does show how humans are working along with the aliens, trying to help them out with some things. They're traitors, because the aliens are portrayed as bad on V, most of them. There was a few good ones, like old Freddy Cougar.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was a good guy on there.
And he even showed up in the new version of V that was out a couple of years ago.
Yeah, there was a new version, and I wanted to see it. It didn't last long, did it?
No, it didn't, but it was really good.
Wow.
I was very happy with it.
Now, the old one, of course, it killed their faces, and of course you'd see the lizard scales underneath. Is that the same with the new one?
Yeah,
I haven't seen it.
Same with the new, but it was all CGI in this one. Of course, they made them more reptile-like. They gave them these crazy mouths that would open up really big, and they had like 1,000 fangs that would come out.
Wow.
Yeah. So I think it was too expensive for them to maintain as a show, so they just made it a mini-series and called it a day at the end.
Here's something, and I'm not going to probably word it right, but we all have great imaginations, for these shows, comic books.
Yeah.
I think, my opinion, my theory is I think that's put in our head for a reason. For the simple fact that someday what you watch on sci-fi will come true. Like, the government's trying to twist it to, okay, we're letting their imaginations go. We're putting these shows on TV. Soon we can share, bits and pieces of what's going on in this world that we're so busy, doing other things by, watching the news.
Or Honey Boo Boo.
The school shootings and whatever's going on around us, that we don't pay attention to that.
Yeah.
I mean, that just came to me for some reason, and I share that.
What was that, Dad?
That's an excellent point. I mean, that's an excellent point.
It is, because it's like, we're getting so detailed into, just like Patrick said, you pull the skin off, you see the scales. I mean, all of this stuff is coming true on TV. They're making it happen. They're making it look realistic.
You could easily call that conversion by diversion.
True. Yeah. And it's creepy.
Now, Neal, do you study much about the objects that are being found in humans from aliens?
Oh, absolutely. Art Bell shared a lot of information that he had that he was afraid to post through the years. Since George Norrie has taken over the show, Art's sort of taken a break from it, from all of the fear that he and his family and the harassment that they had faced, and plus his health condition. He's not really taking part in Coast to Coast that much anymore, but I was fortunate enough to, I guess, cross paths with him, and he shared a lot of interesting documentation, and former military officials and former government officials who at this age really have nothing to lose, nothing to fear, no family life, of course, and decided to share a lot of that with me.
Right. Yeah, I'm just, I'm sitting here thinking more about what I just mentioned and listen to what you're saying. Everything around us, if you stop and you think about it, it creeps you out. We're using airwaves now for cell phones, internet, all of this stuff, what they want to call the technology. It's been here. We've had it. It's just they're releasing it to us.
Gradually,
and I'm creeping myself out, and I need to stop, because tonight I'm really going to have the dream about the alien.
Now this time he'll really show up.
True. Well, I will be sleeping over at the Allen's house tonight, I'll tell you that one. I will be home at my house by myself, being creeped out, looking up into the sky like, please don't take me.
Just put your gerbil hat on. It'll make you feel better.
Oh, you guys are roommates?
I knew there was more purposes for that gerbil hat you bought me.
Yeah, absolutely. But, I just wanted to open people's minds up with some of the things that I was saying that is going along with what Neal was talking about. You think about it. It's there. You know, how many people do we say hello to during the day? You know, because I always try to remember this. If I say hello to one person, or how's your day, I just changed that guy or that lady's life for the entire day and made it a better day. But how many people, you know, here I go thinking crazy. When we walk up to and say, excuse me, or we bump into, or we say, hi, how are you? Or we hold the door for at a restaurant or a store. How do we not know that's not an alien?
Yeah.
You know? We don't.
Well, Hebrews 13:8 tells us that almost daily we'll entertain angels. So the term angels could really be loosely based, whether it could be angel as angelic messenger or angel as an alien.
Oh.
That's true. That is so true.
You know, I saw a video once that creeped me out. This guy was reporting that the Men in Black had been following him around, and no one believed him. He worked at a hotel, and
He worked where?
he worked at a hotel.
Okay.
Are you there?
Yeah, you went away again.
Okay, I'm just making sure we're not getting tapped right now by the government. You know, maybe I should keep my mouth shut.
Did you
Hey,
you heard that
So,
too?
This parking lot here,
For everybody
when
out
last time
there,
you see me.
we love every one of you.
We love you all. Peace.
But he worked at a hotel.
You know,
He worked at a hotel.
Yeah, he worked at a hotel, and one day he comes in there, and he had reported already that these men were following him around, and he described them just like the Men in Black. He'd never really seen them up close, but he knew wherever he went, the Men in Black were close by. Well, these employees were in a hotel, and they described these two men that walked in, both walking together at the same time. Is very weird. Their footsteps, their movements, everything was in sync. They get up to the counter, and instead of asking about, can we get a room, they ask, where this guy is. And the lady said, it really creeped her out, because when she started making the detail out of these guys' faces, they were very, very pale. Their sockets were deep, round. It was just very disturbing to her. And she said she described them as not human-like. And they turned around, they walked out of the hotel, and their movements were exactly the same. I mean, same, like I said before, same footsteps. The hands, everything they did was in sync. And they walked out. The lady never saw him again. It creeped her out. She contacted this man I'm talking about right now, and told him the whole story. So he went back. He had them replay all of the video cameras, the DVR system that was hooked up in there. And when they played it back, of course, it showed these guys coming in. Ooh, I'm getting goosebumps talking about it right now. But it showed them coming in and doing exactly what I just talked about. And it creeps me out to this day.
I would love to see this
You
video.
know, in Travis's, I forget the last name, but the guy that we met, Phenomenology, who wrote about his abduction. If you read his book, that's how he described his flashbacks of seeing these aliens. Like they're human-like, but there's something off, and they're very pale, and everything's in sync.
Wow. Yeah. Yeah.
You remember the one, Deb, where he was sitting in a conference, and he looked over to his left, and he saw the lady. He snapped a picture of her, and you could see her 3 fingers on her right hand, and her eye was tilted way back.
Yeah.
That. Now, I tell you what, guys, if you ever get a chance to go hear Stan Romanek's presentation, if he's still alive,
I think he did.
You need to listen to his presentation. He had the entire event in this room, and I tell you what, it creeped everybody out in there. with some of the technology and some of the things that he was sharing with the mind, the power of the mind, doing the test that he had up on the projector. This guy, oh man, just some of the stuff that he's been through. You know, a lot of people would say, well, you know, he's got a great imagination. Well, somebody put it in his head. It is phenomenal, some of the stuff. I mean, him going to the grocery store, putting stuff in his SUV, getting abducted, getting dropped back off. Just, oh man, I mean, just, the guy deals with it every day. That's just amazing.
Right.
Just amazing.
If you ever meet him, if you ever have a chance to meet him or see him in person, Neal, he's so serious. He's a very serious man, and when I first met him, I felt so sad every time I looked at him because it's like his whole life has changed because of this experience, and it's life changing in not really a positive way. It's like all the joy in life has been sucked out of this man. He's really I guess I would describe it as like a marked man.
Wonder what he did to pique their interest.
It was probably just going public with his story and trying to tell.
Well,
I was before
yeah.
that. Okay.
You know, his childhood. He described his childhood basically that there was this lady. He would always come to him when he was a child. He would see, and she'd always talk to him. And his parents weren't there. They were never around. Like one day he was at a park close by his house playing at the park. The lady showed up. He started talking to her. And later on, this same lady keeps coming into play. At the same time, this lady keeps on coming into play. The aliens and everything else that's going on starts happening more often. Now he starts to relate that this lady is not exactly human, but she is part alien. And
well, just he said when we saw him last year that where he lives in Colorado, he woke up one morning and he had circle crops in his backyard. He showed pictures of the circle crops, and this reminded him of when he was young growing up, because all this stuff came to him when he was probably about 8, 9 years old.
Yeah.
And I mean, he said he can't go a day without being on the phone, talking to just a normal family relative, and hearing you can hear like somebody is chimed in. You can hear beeps, you can hear movement.
I know that feeling.
And he was on the radio show, and
it
I was
ended
like,
for me,
okay.
thankfully.
We all creeped out. We were a little nervous, you know, like, okay, this guy, we're bugged.
But if it's not Neal Parks on our show, then
it's Stan
Romanek, and we're getting bugged and watched, and Lord knows what.
You know what? That's fine, because we're not going to live forever.
No, that's true.
Absolutely.
The only thing that concerns me about that possibility is what they would potentially do to my children, which you really don't want to cross that line, whether you be alien, demon, government, or MIB.
That is true.
That is true.
That's why I don't do exorcisms anymore. That's why I don't do house blessings. That's why I don't do investigations where a demonic entity is involved, because I do not want it attaching itself to me, and then I bring it home and it possesses my children's toys.
Absolutely.
Well, Lee, the thing that I was going to ask you, or kind of revert back to,
sure.
We were supposed to meet up with Stan Romanek out in Colorado when we were there with the Stanley Hotel on the Barricon that we had going on. And for whatever reason, he either didn't get our message or he had contacted us like we were on our way back to the airport.
We were on our way to the airport.
Wasn't there something that had happened either during that time that we were supposed to be there?
Yep. Well, he told... Do you remember what he told you on the phone?
There was something happened, or something went down.
Something happened to him at his house.
Yeah, I remember it. I feel like they got called away for some kind of an emergency, and when he came back, he immediately texted me and said, "Hey, why don't you guys come out for dinner?" And I said, "We can't. We're on our way to the airport. We don't have time."
Mm-hmm.
But it was some sort of emergency that called him out of his home.
And let me tell you, people, we probably would be here today, but we probably wouldn't be the same.
Probably. Wait, there has to be a reason why he was called out in that minimal time frame.
Absolutely.
We would be the paranoid people today, probably being watched. Oh, you know Stan, you know Neal Parks. Oh,
What was the comedy show, Harry and the Hendersons?
I love that movie.
Or not the Harry Hendersons, the alien...
Alf?
Alf.
Yeah, you never know, man. We would have showed up at his house, and who knows what would have been there. Coneheads. Who knows? His wife would have answered the door and said, "May I take your jacket?" And you're like, I mean, we don't know.
Yeah, you don't. You really
And
don't.
guess what? We've been so far out there, because he told us he lives way off the road.
Yeah.
Dude,
Yeah.
we've been dead.
In the mountains, probably.
In the
Right up in the mountains.
Yeah.
The Rockies.
Yeah.
Been
Well, Neal,
in trouble.
we appreciate you calling in.
And Neal, not to interrupt my good buddy over here, Crazy Legs,
Yeah.
but I do say you owe me and Jim big time. Because last time we had you on our show, you made a promise that you were going to come and see us when we had the convention at the Emmett House in Waverly.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
And he didn't show up. He stood us up.
I feel bad about that. I'm sorry.
I accept your apology.
It's all right. We made posters there of your face and threw darts at you. Oh, haunted holidays, huh? I got your haunted holiday. I'm just joking with you, man.
I was going to say, where was I?
Oh my gosh.
Oh, I was watching the table. That's right.
I'm planning to
I
attend.
watched the table. What are you talking about? I watched the table too. You didn't want to leave.
Oh, well, that's true.
I'm planning to attend the Creep Fest coming up in
Hardest
October.
paranormal event I've ever attended. It was horribly hot.
You are not kidding. That was crazy. They didn't.
No AC.
No AC, and those fans weren't doing anything.
Yeah.
Now
Me and
I'll
Jim went and
be.
bought a fan.
Yes, Walmart special.
And thank God Jersey P and myself was somewhere in Mexico drinking a little nice drink.
God, they go on their honeymoon. you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah. Me and Jim are hot. We're burning up, but it's in an old haunted house.
Yes.
Where do you
These
think
guys
I was? I
are
was on the
being
honeymoon with him.
We tried. We tried to get in the suitcase.
We tried.
We
I
were
was there.
busted.
I was their cabana boy. That's where I was at the convention.
Well, Neal, we really appreciate you calling in to Looking Into the Unknown. We consider you like family, buddy. I've known you for a long time, and
We've had some nice
your
talks.
sites where we can people can check you out.
What's
the
awesome
next
is you can.
convention you're going to be at.
What's awesome is you can go on Google or Yahoo and just type in the word Neal Parks, Neal Parks, and there's like 6 pages of information on me. All good, nothing illegal. I've not been cracked down for any meth labs or anything. But I will be at the Creep Fest in October. I'll more than likely be at the Mothman Festival in September. And I'm wrapping up calls and contacting with people that I made contacts with while traveling through New England the entire month of August. We went through Bar Harbor, Maine. We went through Montpelier, Vermont, Hershey, Pennsylvania, Gettysburg, Salem, and Lake Winnipesaukee in New Hampshire. So
Cool.
we went all over the part of New England, basically just a self-promoted book tour, getting all of the local ma and pa bookstores aware of who I was, what I was doing, what I was writing about, what I planned to do with this trip, and every single one of them took the bait, and they carry my books now.
Wow. Yeah, this man, guys, you need to check him out. Go to Facebook, Neal Parks. If you're having troubles finding him, come to one of us and Google his name. I mean, Chillicothe, Ohio. Awesome guy. We look up to you. We love you, buddy, and we really appreciate you calling in to Looking Into the Unknown.
Thank you very much, Neal.
I love you guys too.
Thank you.
See you,
Thank
Neal.
You're welcome. Bye.
Thank you.
All right, guys, that was Neal Parks. Great friend, a great guy, great author.
Got a lot of
He's got a lot going
Gotta
on.
check him out.
You know, Deb, are you still here?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay. He's got a lot going on. I'm going to hand over the the air. Let Deb plug in some stuff. She, you know, I want her. This is her first show with us, and so yeah, guys, if you don't know who Deb Lance is, pity on you.
Well,